Weather Words with Frank Ward is a production of The Reporter, Delaware County's leading news source. This episode of Weather Words with Frank Ward is sponsored by Klinger Power Sports on West Street in Walton, your one-stop shop for outdoor recreational vehicles. Klinger services all recreational vehicles it sells. Stop in today and see how Klingers can help you enjoy the great outdoors in comfort and in style.
Good morning on this Monday, and it's the 24th, and if you're just looking outside, you found out there's another 2.5-inch lake effect snow out there, the kind you can sort of blow away. But be careful, because if it's sitting on top of ice or whatever, the roads may not be perfect, so just be careful driving. However, I want to go all the way back to Thursday, which was the last time you heard from me, and summarize what happened over the weekend. After I finished talking to you Thursday, the temperature just kept falling and falling and falling. And when you got up on Friday morning, it was -2. However, if you took time to look up, it was probably the bluest sky you've ever seen in your life. There wasn't a cloud anywhere. And from outside, when you stepped into it, we only got to 16 degrees. Okay, but there was no wind. So you stepped out in it, but it really didn't feel that bad, especially with the sun shining all over the place. However, even my brother, who's finally learning some weather from me, said, "Doesn't that mean cold weather tonight?" And I said, uh-huh. Remember, clouds are like a blanket, so they hold in whatever heat there is. When there are none, guess what? Well, when you got up on Saturday morning, it was -18. Okay, I started to think about that. When was the last time it was -18? So after calling into the weather service, I went out and got my records and just started going backwards from where we are. And I had to go back 12 years to find -19. And that was in 2009. And believe it or not, it was the same week in January. However, understand we haven't gone above freezing in over 10 days. Let's take if you remember on the Reporter a week or so ago where we said the average temperature in January is 21.5 degrees. Well, let's take our -2. Daytime high is 16. Add -2, you're at 14. Divide by 2, and what was the average temperature for that day? 7. Now take the -18 and the high that day and add it together, and guess what? Every one of our below zero days, and by the way, those 2 below zero days gave us the 100-year average of 6 below zero days per winter. And guess what's coming this week? Okay, this afternoon, you're going to see some more snow into tonight. Another 2 or 3 inches. Another one of those clippers is coming through. When that passes by, it's going to draw some more cold air down out of Canada. And understand that when you watch Spectrum News, or maybe you watch one of the other stations, the people giving you the temperatures there are either in Syracuse or Binghamton. And that's why people say they're never right. And that's true. They're projecting 2 below zero days this week. But one of the days in Binghamton is going to be 3 degrees. And one day is going to be 4. Generally speaking, when they give you the temperature from the guy in Binghamton, subtract 3 or 4 degrees from it and you'll have ours. One of those nights, which is going to be Tuesday night, we could go back into the -10, 11, 12 degrees below zero. Now we could have a problem. Okay. And the problem is, if your outside piping or your water piping runs through the outside wall of your house, you got to be very careful. Because leave cabinet doors open on the sink or in your kitchen or wherever, because you're liable to find you're not going to have any water in the morning. When you get this cold for this long period of time and put lots of minuses in there, that's one of the chances. Understand, a lot of our houses here in Walton were built before there was running water from a water source. A lot of these houses have a well in the backyard. So that means, okay, now we have water from the village or wherever. How are we going to get the pipe to the house? The easiest way was to run them through the outside wall. Okay, just be careful, because nothing's worse than frozen pipes. If you've been here for a number of winters, you might remember a number of winters ago when we had this many below zero days. A lot of people in the village of Walton and over in Hamden turned on the water and there wasn't any. And they said, I don't get it. You know what? Thank this snow, it's an insulator. And the water wasn't frozen in your house. Guess where it was frozen? Where your water pipe crossed the sidewalk, which needs to be kept shoveled. If your water pipe went under your driveway, which you keep plowed or shoveled, and therefore the snow wasn't there to insulate it, and people lost their water. In some cases, the water froze under the street. Now, they fixed a lot of the water lines. Hopefully that's not going to happen again. But leave a faucet dripping. Why? And you've heard people say it. Running water doesn't freeze as fast. And there's a good reason for that. If water's moving, the water molecules are doing this on each other. That's friction. They're also doing this on your pipes. That's also friction. That little bit of friction can keep your water from freezing. So leave a faucet dripping, not running into the sink, but leave it running a little bit. I have one pipe in my entire house that freezes. And that's because if Lillian turns the camera that way, I enlarged my bathroom. I should have put more insulation on that wall, because that's where the water pipe runs in. The hot water never freezes. The cold water every once in a while. So you know what? I have it dripping this morning. If you don't like the sound of a drip, put a sponge under it, because you know what? I can hear it in my bedroom. It annoys me. So I'm just going to let it drip this entire week. But believe it or not, we have lots of below zeros in February too. So we'll have to wait to see what Mother Nature gives us. There are still no major snowstorms coming. But you also won't even approach freezing this coming week. So get ready for, right now it's 11 degrees out here. We might, if we're lucky, get to 20 today. It's going to snow tonight and into tomorrow, probably in the morning. That gives us a temperature probably of 23 or 24 degrees. Still not very warm, okay? The other days after that, we'll be lucky on a couple of those days to break the single numbers. So it's just going to continue to be cold. Are we going to get a big snowstorm one of these days? I mean, we got 6 inches the other day. That's the most we've had so far. But like I said, we're still way behind. Now, one last thing for keeping warm in your house. Because when it's cold, there's almost no humidity in the air. The air is actually sucking moisture out of your skin. And that takes energy, and that's why you can be sitting there looking at the thermometer in your living room and it says it's 72. Why am I so cold? It's because the humidity in your house right now is probably drier than the Sahara Desert. And the Sahara Desert, by the way, has a humidity during the day of about 11%. But if you have forced hot air heat, your air is really dry. If you have a wood stove, maybe you have a couple steamers on it like I have. It keeps humidity in the house. Believe it or not, then last week, I've been filling those containers on top of my stove 4 or 5 times a day. They're evaporating gallons of water, but my house is very comfortable. Forced hot air heat, if you don't have pets, just simply put a bowl of water next to one of the registers so when it comes up and out, it evaporates it. If you have the old tube radiators, put a cookie sheet on top of it. Fill it with water. When the radiator's working, it'll put that humidity in the air, and you'll be surprised that you won't wake up with the gritty eyes, the dry throat. But right now out here, I also suggest skin cream, chapstick, and if the sun comes out with the glare of the snow, wear your sunglasses, or you'll get a headache. I can promise you that also. All we have to do, we've been through worse than this, is live with it. We really can't change it. And you're going to find that this month, which you'll find out when I see you on Monday, of course, I'll see you Thursday too, but on the following Monday, I'll summarize the entire month of January. There's no way we're going to even approach normal temperature for this month. There hasn't been a warm day yet. One day we reached 40, and that was it. So stay safe, stay comfortable, and remember, dress right yourself, remember your pets, and again, having animals out in the barn, make sure the water's ice-free and take care of them too. And I'll let you know the story on Thursday. That's up and coming.
Shop Klinger Power Sports on West Street in Walton today.